By now, I'm sure that you've heard the good news that we are opening for in-person worship gatherings this upcoming Sunday, June the 7th at 10:45 a.m. I don't know about you, but for me, that is a huge praise the Lord after being away for 12 weeks as a faith family. I can't wait to gather once again with the church. This decision hasn't come lightly and without serious deliberation and prayer. And I feel it's important to share with you what has informed each of our decisions and every one of the steps we've taken. First, I want to share with you that our mission as a church has played a huge role in our decisions that we've made. Our mission statement is that exist to connect the unconnected to Christ and together grow to full devotion to Him. It's my belief that we've done extraordinarily well in connecting the unconnected to Christ. In fact, if the metrics are right, we have averaged over 200 views between Facebook and between YouTube and all of our different channels each week that has been intentionally gospel-centered. And so we've done well at connecting the unconnected to Christ. But I believe it's difficult for us as people of faith to grow together if we aren't actually together. So, looking forward to our gathering together once again and growing together. The second guiding principle that's helped us make our decisions is that we are determined to be biblical Christians. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17 says that we are to show proper respect to everyone, love the family of believers, fear God, and honor the emperor. It's been our hope that at every stage throughout this season, that we would have been a people that have shown respect for everyone, no matter what their feelings are or where they find themselves in the midst of this season of pandemic. Whether you believe it's a hoax or whether you believe it's a real thing, that we would show you respect. Whether you wore a mask or you didn't wear a mask, that we would show you respect. Whether you believed that there was an overreach in government or whether you believed that this was the right response, that we would show respect to one another. We also hope that we would love well on the family of believers. And I believe that we have done that quite well in this season. I just want to applaud you as your pastor and say, thank you for loving well on each other. We also want to be a people that fear and respect God in all that we do. Every step that we've taken was in hopes that we are honoring God with every decision that we make. And then the last one in 1 Peter says that we are to honor the emperor, our governing authorities. And as much as that's been a real struggle for some of us because we feel that there's an overreach in what they're allowed to do in relationship to our First Amendment rights, we are kingdom people first. And as kingdom people, we're told that we need to honor the emperor. And so we've tried our best to abide by what our state and local and county governors and leaders have said, and including our district leadership within the Church of the Nazarene and our global leadership in the Church of the Nazarene. And I believe we've stayed faithful to that calling to be biblical Christians. The third thing that's informed us in our decision-making process is we want to be good neighbors. We want to love well, and I think we've done that. I'm thinking of Chris Patterson and the many of you who have made masks for PIH nursing staff, and then for our food bank ministry team, that they made masks for them, and then they made masks for so many other people. The masks were probably in the thousands that they made, and I am so grateful today that we've loved well in that arena. We've loved well by doing our food bank, serving well over 250 people now, or 250 families. This is incredible work that we've done in that, and continuing to love people and feed their needs. both physically and spiritually. I've heard so many stories of how people have come alongside others in a spiritual way and prayed for and come alongside and nurtured people. As your pastor, that makes me proud. I've had countless times where I've had people say, hey, if you need anything or if someone needs something, let me know. I hear of a need, I call up somebody and say, hey, would you be willing to go and pick up food for so-and-so or pick up these medical supplies or run these errands? You have done well in loving each other well. In being good neighbors, we also hope that we become and have been a beacon of hope in our community to our neighbors. I believe our online presence and also the deepening of relationships with our neighbors and our neighborhood has been phenomenal. And I'm so grateful that in this season when we have never been front porch type of people, that now everybody's out walking, everybody's out jogging, everybody's out on their front porch, on their front lawn. In fact, down the street on Second Street, there is a house that put their backyard play equipment in their front yard so that their front yard could be used as the play area for their children. It's been so nice to connect with families and connect them and let them know, hey, we're the church right up the street. And if you need anything, we're here and we love you. In fact, we had somebody come a couple weeks ago, knock on the door and say, hey, I don't feel comfortable going to the store, and do you guys have any toilet paper? We were able to give toilet paper to a family. How unique of a situation to be a beacon of hope, but also of supplies and meeting people's needs in this season. And the last thing is, I hope that we've cared well for the well-being of everyone that we're in relationship with. Taking their health, our health, seriously, especially those that are 65 years of age and over, and those with underlying conditions. We want to make every decision based on some of those health concerns and tell you that we care about your health and safety. With that as the basis of our decision making, we've listened to federal, state, county, and local officials. We've listened to our denominational leaders. And here is what they are saying that they expect of us in this season. Not to exceed, when we open, not to exceed 25% of our capacity, which is fine. We're not going to bump into a threshold there. The threshold that we will bump into is the 100-person maximum in any gathering. And so we are limited to 100 people maximum in our gathering. Each of those people needs to be socially, physically distanced 6 feet apart. You can sit with your family members, but everybody else has to be 6 feet apart. Masks are recommended for all participants. Hand sanitization stations throughout the facility. Strict cleaning and sanitization of all areas that people will be present in. Temperature checks will be mandatory for everybody as they enter the facility, not to exceed 100.4 degrees. We are actually setting that because our safety bar is going to be 100 degrees or lower. Limit touching to 0 and limit congregating in the common areas. Disable water fountains that require touch to use them. And no food unless it's individually wrapped and individually disposable packages, and also clear signage that states the requirements throughout the facilities. This is what our state, local, and denominational authorities have asked of us. So then what's our plan? What's it going to look like as we return? If all requirements can be met by this Sunday, we plan on this Sunday at 10:45 to enter into in-person worship gatherings here in our sanctuary. The state has limited the group to 100 people maximum, and we will strictly abide by this guideline. Physical distancing will be required, and I'm just going to ask you as your pastor, please refrain from all the physical touch at this time. Again, we want to be good neighbors, and if we have visitors that come in, we want to make sure that we abide by every one of these rules and for each other's safety. We've worked hard at setting up our sanctuary to accommodate families sitting together while also maximizing our space, providing the necessary 6 foot distancing. That means that when the groupings of seats are all filled up, or we've hit 100 people in the sanctuary, we will be forced to deny entry to anybody and ask those people to go home and to join with us online instead. Masks are going to be highly recommended. And just as your pastor, I want to say this to you today. Unless you have a real medical reason why you should not wear one, then you need to wear a mask for the sake of those who carry this concern and for the sake of your neighbor being a good neighbor. Masks are highly recommended. We are going to be doing temperature checks, and these are mandatory at the door before you enter in. 100 degrees or less. If you have 100.1, you will be asked to go home and view online. And also, seek medical attention at that point. Be wise in that. All auxiliary ministries, whether it be men's and women's ministries, children's ministries, youth ministries, and Sunday school ministries, all of these classes will not have in-person gatherings during phase 1. They are going to continue, however, meeting online until the further restrictions are lifted. There will be no coffee, no food, no water provided. As we said, the water fountains will be disabled, but you are able to bring water into the sanctuary, so bring a water bottle with you. There will be no handouts, no bulletins, no prayer sheets. We've been asked to have nothing that we pass hand to hand to people. And there will be no passing of plates. Again, no of the offering plate. We're not going to pass something from person to person. Instead, there will be a central plate in the foyer for people to give their in-person gifts. But also, we just want to encourage you, continue to give online through our giving platform online. And then finally, we are going to continue that online presence for people that maybe are 65 years of age with underlying conditions and you don't feel like you should go out. That's okay. I encourage you, stay home, tune in online until some of this passes by. If you are physically ill, or if you have been in contact with somebody that is physically ill, can I just say to you as your pastor, don't come. For our sake, please do not come and put other people in jeopardy. Instead, exercise the online worship opportunity. And then finally, there's some of you that just are uncomfortable in this season gathering with a larger crowd. We understand that. We respect that. In fact, I highly understand that and say to you, feel free to engage with us online. That's why we're going to continue with the online presence. Some logistics around here. You're going to see signage. You're going to see things that are put up as reminders, but we wanted to do everything that we could to not create fear and make it look like this is a fearful response. In fact, the sanctuary is looking great. In fact, it might be a great way to leave our sanctuary for a very long time because it seems right. It feels right in that sanctuary. We are going to open the doors on Sunday at 10:15 a.m. Please do not come earlier than that because we are going to try to allow for people to not congregate in common areas. So at 10:15, the doors will open. You will have your temperature checked. And we're going to ask that you not congregate in the foyer, but instead you go and you find a seat with your family and then remain seated until the service is concluded. We will be dismissing by rows to prevent a bottleneck in the foyer. And we're designing our services to be very family friendly. So please bring your kids. Parents, please keep them close by you. Don't allow your kids to wander. And don't let them roam throughout the sanctuary. The physical distancing is there to protect you and others. So wandering reduces that physical distancing capability. Please remain in your seats. To kick off our time together, we will be sharing at the very beginning of our service, we're going to be sharing in communion. We are going to be using the disposable communion elements. And if you cannot attend this Sunday in person, but you want to participate in communion with the body of believers, would you take a minute and would you sign in at our cacnaz.org website and then go to the Family Communion tab and then sign up and let us know how many you need. And we will be delivering those to your house by this Friday. Sign-ups need to be done by Wednesday at noon. So please sign up by Wednesday at noon so that we can get those in your hands by Friday and you can participate with us from your home with the communion elements. Again, there will be signage. You don't have to remember all of this. Some of this stuff will be natural. Ushers and greeters will be here to help you navigate some of this. And just come ready to worship the Lord together once again. I'm so excited for this opportunity, and that is our phase 1 of re-entry back together. Phase 2 will probably happen 1 to 2 weeks later based upon governing authorities' recommendations and what we observe as far as respect here on this campus. And phase 2 means that our auxiliary ministries, whether it be men and women's ministries, Sunday school classes, and youth ministries, can begin to phase in with the same requirements that we just spoke of in phase 1. Men's ministry can meet again at 6:30 to 7:45 in room 202, socially distanced. Women's ministry, same thing, 6:30 to 7:45 on Mondays. But this time they're going to be meeting in the fellowship hall to accommodate a larger group. And then our Sunday school classes, we're doing something a little different during this season. We're going to be doing joint classes, and all of the teachers that want to sign up for this, they're going to be doing this on a rotating teaching basis through a book of the Bible. And we are encouraging you, come and grow together during this season. And we recognize that each Sunday school class has had its own flavor, its own teaching style, and its own teacher style. We don't want to rob you of that, but we do want to make rotating teachers available so that every style is experienced throughout this season. And then finally, on Wednesday nights, youth ministry will gather on this campus from 6:30 to 7:45, provided that there will be adequate staffing on hand, and this will require parental consent and acknowledging the risk of their child being present on the campus in this capacity. Notice something. There is not children's ministry at all in phase 1 or in phase 2. Everything is done in family ministry, and our Sunday school classes are adult Sunday school classes, not children's Sunday school classes. Children add a whole nother level of dynamics that we needed to push to phase 3. So let's talk about phase 3. Phase 3 probably will begin sometime in July, and also in conjunction with state and governing authorities' recommendations. This will resume on Wednesday nights for all adult and children's ministries from 6:30 to 7:45. Again, there will be no food, so there will not be a family dinner gathering. Everything instead will start at 6:30 in the evening. Children's ministries will utilize rooms 202, 203, 204, and the Children's Chapel to accommodate physical distancing as best as possible with children. Again, they will only meet if there is adequate adult supervision, and this will also require parental consent acknowledging the risk. Adults will meet in the fellowship hall from 6:30 to 7:45. Now, if children ministry does not have adequate adult supervision, we still will probably gather back together on Wednesdays in July, but parents and children will worship together, and we will move our gathering in family groups to the sanctuary instead so that we can gather in worship and grow together as a church family. This is phase 1, 2, and 3. If the CDC or health department authorities require a slowdown, or they allow for things to move forward in a faster fashion, and we feel safe to do so, we will adjust accordingly, and we will make those adjustments on a week-to-week basis. So I hope you join me in excitement for our gathering once again this Sunday at 10:45. Come no earlier than 10:15 to worship with us, and sign up for communion today on our website if you plan on staying home. Otherwise, the elements will be here waiting for you as we dive into worship together at the one thing that makes us all equal at the foot of the cross, and that is the blood and body, broken body of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I am looking forward to our gathering together this Sunday. God bless, church. I love you.